Hello, my siblings of God. God has asked me to come and make this video. So, rapidly, we will be approaching a time of pretty much the era of false Christs. So, like Christ said, there will be many that come in my name saying, I am Christ, I am he, follow me, kind of a deal. I realized that he is talking, well, as many people understand, about Antichrist, but what I realized today is that it's really just more people foretelling that the end is really coming, that there can only be one true Antichrist, and that there will be many wannabes, pretty much. The evil one has tried very hard to, at some times, speed up this process and at other times slow down this process. But he forgets that everything moves on God's time. And so we are going to be entering a time where it's going to be like a rapid increase. And we as Christians need to be spiritually prepared. I mean, this is going to be a whole nother video at a very different time, but there are a lot of issues with Christians right now and their spirituality and not being up to the standard that we should be at. We're so much further along, and yet we have degraded as a community. But again, other time for another video. These false Christs are going to, these false Christs are going to, first, they're going to practice with leading non-believers astray and people who are on the fence. They will perform, false miracles, great signs using demons and black magic and what they deem as white magic, healing energies, stuff like that. We're at a time right now where, the evil one is trying to get everybody to feel like they are a god. Real Egyptian things, so that it is easier to lead people into the fall, right? Some people, there's a pit, and with pride, there's always a fall. Well, some people have learned to go around that pit, spiritually, obviously. They've gone around that pit, and what they're doing is they're shouting on the other side of the pit, right? They're laying down a trap, they're putting leaves over it, and they're shouting on the other side, saying, follow me, so that everybody else gets put into this hole. Everybody else gets sent down to hell, and then at their time, they get to jump into that hole at the top and say, I tricked all you guys. Haha, I got one up on you. You guys were in the pit before I was in the pit, kind of a thing. They're trying to prove a point to God, unfortunately, that they think he's weak. They think that because he has granted these people free will, that they can take advantage of that free will with people that have a lesser understanding of that free will. You know, the enemy is trying to force us into a way of life that we are forced to look upon the earth, look at the earth and worry about the earth, stuff like that. You know, he knows what he's done. He knows he's damned this place, but if he can get people distracted with environmentalism, that's how many more people that he can lead away from God. He doesn't care as long as he can shove as many people in that pit so that he can stand on top of them. That's pretty much all they're doing, is just piling up all these bodies to stand on top of it, just to try and fight God again, just to say, look at what we did to your people, look at what we did to your creations, and now we're going to fight you. We're going to take all these things and we're going to make them hate you, so that when we push one last time, one last battle to try and overthrow God, we have a chance. They think that they will actually win during this battle. But thank God that before this battle happens, after the tribulation, we will all be resurrected, we'll all be caught up in the sky, and we won't have to deal with it. All the angels who have been tirelessly fighting for us, they will get one last push against them, and after they are all defeated, there they go out to the lake of fire, and to their proper eternal punishments. These false Christs are going to use your feelings. They want to make you feel bad for them. They want to get you to empathize for them, so that it is easier to lead you astray. These are very narcissistic type people. They're going to be very charming people. They're going to be beautiful people. To be 100% honest, like, they are going to be conventionally attractive. These are people that are literally bred for the Antichrist. Like, when God said that, like, he grows flowers, but the evil one grows weeds, he's not kidding about that, right? The evil one needs to grow all these weeds so all the snakes can hide in the grass, so that God has to take out the grass before he can take out. He's using these people, all these weeds that he's growing within these people, literally as a body shield. He's trying to use it as a stepping stool and a body shield. It is all to advantage him. He does not care. He does not care about you. He does not want the best for you. He is trying to lead you to death so that you can be a footstool to him. God called him the evil one for a reason. It's the reason I normally refuse to call him by any other name but the evil one. He is nothing but evil, and he will use good things to commit these evils. As God said, why do you say these good things, but you are so evil? Why do you do evil when you say all these good things? And the more upsetting part is these humans that he gives these worlds, like gives the world to, through different means. He's just using them as a footstool too. He's using them as a distraction right now. Oh, look at these guys. They're horrible. They're terrible people, when in reality they are literally playing with Satan. They are letting Satan be in control of their lives. It is Satan who is to blame. Yes, you can blame their free will. It is on them that they want to play into their evil, that they want to be comfortable with their evil, that they want to step on you. This is all true. This is all stuff to be upset about with them too, but the blame goes to the evil one. Like, you have to give him credit for him being as smart as he is, but the real credit goes to all the evil. And that's not a brag. That's not a brag at all. And he thinks it is. He genuinely thinks that enough evil will defeat good once and for all, and that he can rule, and that his version of what he thinks should happen, that he will be God. You have to remember, like, the evil one, he never stopped believing that he is better than God. He never stopped believing that he could overthrow God. He never stopped believing that he is better than God, and that he knows more than God, and that he can be God. He never stopped that. And these are the things that you're going to be seeing in these antichrists. I mean, they're all going to manifest in different ways, because the evil one can only mess with very certain people at a time, because he is weaker than he wants to admit. He doesn't have power without God, and that's something he still can't admit. He cannot. You just can't. These antichrists will be horrible. And they will be rampant. And, I mean, it's going to start here in America. This is where the central of it is going to start, right? This is, I mean, most of spiritual Babylon is projected here in America. It is not Babylon itself. It will turn eventually into Babylon itself. Like, it will physically manifest. But it is, right now, the most spiritual Babylon place. And they are trying to mask what's going on behind the scenes with all these different things, with, you know, famous artists, and, like I was saying, you know, top government people, top businessmen, stuff like that. They are trying to, you know, make you focus, like I said earlier, make you focus on the world first. But with these antichrists, they are going to be spiritual people. Now, they will be spiritual, but they won't be good. They're going to, you know, bring on a new wave and a new different kind of spirituality to people. I mean, I would not be surprised if there are going to be some that are literally just walking around acting as they are, as you know, Jesus would walk around, and feeding themselves with as much antichrist spirit as they possibly can, so that when they come upon, like, groups of hippies, or, you know, unsuspecting people, or people that, you know, are actually, like, they're more material people, you know, the kinds that are like, I have to see it to believe it, right? They're going to be so filled with antichrist spirit and demons that they're going to perform these false miracles, and they're going to be like, oh, maybe spirituality is a real thing, right? I mean, we live in the times of deception. The great deception is what we are in right now. We're pretty much in the midst of this. We are at the beginning of this part. This is like, we're deep in it by now. And the fruits of the great deception are going to start bearing soon. I mean, you have to be watchful. You have to understand that spirituality all came from God. This is going to be controversial, and I will go more in depth with this in a different video that God has been asking me to do. everything spiritual did derive directly from God first. That is something you do have to realize. Everything that this New Age crap has is directly inspired by something God has already done and created. Right? I'm not saying that the New Age stuff is what God is doing. I'm saying, as I just said, it's directly influenced and it is a perverted version of what God is doing. Right? I mean, you have to up your spiritual game. You can't up just your relationship with God. You need to up your spiritual game. This is the time where you cannot go without it. You cannot go without God living in your body and you being confident that He is living within your body. You will be deceived. It's literally stated in the Bible that even people that believe in God will be deceived, right? You can believe in God, but that doesn't mean you have faith in God. Let me say that one more time. You can believe in God, but that doesn't mean you have faith in God. I'm going to say it one more time. Just because you believe in God does not mean you have faith in God. Let that settle in. Let that settle in. And I hope that disturbs you. Because if it does disturb you, then that means you are lacking. You are lacking, and you need to up that spiritual game. You need to really lock into your prayer, right? We're not all perfect, right? I'm not saying immediately you have to go to 3 hours of prayer with God, but you need to be able to. Spiritual discernment is a gift of the Spirit, and that is one that is given to everybody. Okay, maybe not everybody, but most people have this. Most people have this spiritual discernment kind of stuff. But there are going to be Christians that as you push more into that spiritual side of you, they're going to think you're Antichrist. Trust me, I would know. There are people who genuinely think I am the Antichrist. So as you're pushing further into a more spiritually driven life, into a more spiritual life with God and walking with God, following God, right? You just have to ignore what they're saying. You just have to. You have to ignore what they're saying. I know I kind of went off topic a couple times, but I feel they're very relevant, so I'm not sorry. I'm just sitting here recognizing what I did. These antichrists will do anything to tick your emotions, right? If they can take God's presence out of your life, they can give you that bare minimum, and you will fall for it. They are going to be master manipulators. Me and my roommate have a joke going on about, you couldn't live a day without being in my head. I am the dark psychologist. But in reality, these are people that are actually practicing dark psychology things. They're not going to tell you about it. They're just going to do it to you. Right? They're going to keep underfunding therapists and psychological work, because if you know too much of the truth, then you can't fight back. Let me say that one more time. If you know too much of the truth, you cannot fight back, and that's an issue. The truth and the way in the life is all in the Bible, right? There are other people are going to hate me for saying this, but there are other truths, right? There are objective ways of looking at things, right? There are objective psychological things that we should be worried about. There are objective geological things that we should worry about. There is truth, because truth is everywhere. God is everywhere. He is everything. There is truth in things, right? That doesn't mean everything has a truth, right? There is only one true religion. I'm not saying anything about that, okay? Because that's, I mean, like, that's a whole different video too. But I mean, there are truths that very evidently could only be explained by God. So you have to recognize that as well. You know, in these times, you gotta, unless it literally helps you be equipped for God's journey, you have to let it go. You have to let it go. You cannot let earthly knowledge, that is an earthly treasure, right? Earthly knowledge, earthly wisdom. You cannot let that gather up in your head. That should not be what is in your mind. It should be heavenly treasures. It should be Christ. It should be praying. As you can tell, I got a lot on my mind, always. But your best weapon against these is spirituality. Against this rising Antichrist era. You know, the thing is that there are going to be a lot of Antichrist churches that do end up popping up. This is stuff that I'm getting revealed to me right now, so bear with me. There will be Antichrist churches, and I mean like genuinely not just like not just satanic temples. Like that will be a thing too, but I mean like Trump is saying something about building the third Jerusalem temple or something like that. I heard something like that. If you think that's not going anywhere except for either Jerusalem or America, I mean, first Antichrist temple, and I mean, like, anyway. And within those churches, these spiritual churches, as we will call them, because there needs to be a direct perversion of God all the time for some reason. I mean, these people are going to know the Prince of Darkness, the unholy shepherd. I know that energy already, unfortunately. Like, I'm prepared for this, and being prepared for this, getting prepared for this. I can tell you that, I mean, spiritually, I mean, just looking at the Antichrist, it's just dark. I mean, there is no light. The thing with the evil one is he is a darkness that covers God's light, right? So if this is, he covers God's light, but there's just enough of God's light coming around for him to bear a false light. He also bears false light by channeling the flames of hell. But with the Antichrist, which is a separate being, it is just darkness. It is I mean, I wish I could describe it in words better than I am failing to right now. About it's just heavy, and there's just a perpetual it's horrid. It's straight out of a horror movie. And And this is how you're going to be able to detect these antichrists, and eventually the antichrist to come is literally by the darkness that they actively project. You're gonna recognize them by their fruits, yes, but like you can smell this stuff. You can feel the darkness coming out of somebody. You can feel the light coming out of somebody, right? This is why when we are Christ living in us, right, we push out Christ's presence. We push out that peaceful energy that he has. It's the same thing with them as the same thing with us, except they do it with darkness. It's kind of like a comforting weight for people who do not have God with them, right? It's kind of like a weighted blanket where it does give a sort of comfort, but it only gives you your flesh comfort. And that's the unfortunate part about the Antichrist itself, is that people are going to be comforted. Those who are not truly with God, they're going to be comforted by that. They're going to be comforted by that. Okay, now that I am not having new things revealed to me in this moment, I'm feeling convicted to share a vision in this video since we're already talking about these things. One, I've talked about certain things about the unholy shepherd on my Twitter page, X page, whatever you want to call it. One, there will be false antichrist burnings. They will be some will be public, some will not be public. There are a couple other things I know that I prophesized about that did end up lining biblically, but the one that is most on my mind right now, there's a specific thing about how there is a restrainer around the Antichrist. So this is true. God gave me a vision. I was put in the spiritual realm, and there is a literal temple. There is a literal temple of darkness. There are demons all around it. It literally looks like the Eye of Providence, like you see on a dollar bill. It is a temple, and it's not necessarily an eye, but there is a circle that is restraining the Antichrist, that is keeping the Antichrist on the beast temple. There were spike-like things, horn-like things coming out. There's like 4 different horns that are surrounding this thing. And it's being restrained, and this is by God, right? The Antichrist and the evil one literally cannot do anything without God letting it happen. So it's sitting in that thing, and it's festering. It's getting more powerful. It's getting fed. It's being praised. It's being worshipped in hell. There are lines of demons, and not even really proper lines. There's just demons crawling over each other to even get close to that thing. And I mean, there's so much happening that they can't even like get up even halfway up this pyramid that they have. Like, this is so many lost souls waiting to be saved by this thing, that are trying to come and do whatever they're trying to do with it, but that restrainer, it's keeping it back, and it's keeping the other things from getting to it. The moment that restrainer breaks, walk on down the temple he comes. The moment that restrainer breaks, he's walking down that temple. The moment that his false prophet, the actual vessel for the Antichrist, is killed on an upside down cross. That was what I was thinking of. The desolating sacrilege is literally the Antichrist, the false prophet, the vessel for the Antichrist, the physical vessel for the Antichrist, getting crucified on an upside down cross, and he's going to be burned, and he's going to be beaten, and at some point someone's going to strike his head. That's when he's going to die. And you know, that flame is going to be like the portal. This is coming to me now. That flame is going to be the portal for the Antichrist spirit to then finally enter into its vessel, and that it will then come alive again. It will possess a body. That body is literally dead, but then it's coming back to life through that thing, the desolating sacrilege. So, we really got to point this stuff out. As Christians, we have to start feeling the spiritual realm better and understanding it more and living constantly in it. You should be able to get to a point where you're looking at somebody and you know where they're at in their journey, either with Christ or with the evil one, or if like you should be able to tell where they are based on simply the energy output that they are giving. This is a skill that we all need to start learning. We have to be watchful, right? We have to be spiritually watchful, so that it is easier for us to, all of us go, that's an Antichrist spirit. There's a lot that's in this video, and if you got to this point, God bless you, because I threw a lot at you, and there's probably more that I will eventually, say on my Twitter or say on another thing in a continued version of this video. But as of right now, I'm not feeling conviction. Yes, I am. Do not mistake their false love. Behind that sense of giving you just enough so that you feel loved is literally pure hate. It's just hate. And it's toxicity. It's poison. It's just poison. They've let themselves be poisoned by the ancient serpent, and they're just trying to spit that back into your mouth. Right? That's their version of giving to each other. I'll feed into your flesh as long as you inherit this poison that I have taken into myself. And that's why we love God so much. Because he is the quite literal opposite of that. Thank God. Thank God we have God for this good. Be watchful and increase your spiritual life. Pray to God for others' spiritual sight and for your spiritual sight and your spiritual understanding and your spiritual feelings. Right? Being in the spirit has all different kinds of feelings. Learn those feelings. Get used to those feelings so that we can fight this together and so that we can all end up following God. Following God. Following God. Following God. Not just, hey, you died for me and you saved me? Cool. No, I mean following him. Christ never died. He's still alive. We just can't see him unless there are certain people that he reveals himself to, right? I'm lucky enough to say I'm one of those people, but that doesn't matter. He's still alive. He's still walking around here. He's still going out and doing works for us. We just can't see him. That's why we have to call upon him so that he can use us to come and do his will, the will of the Father through us, so that we can also practice doing the will of the Father. Christ is doing so much more for us than we understand. All you gotta do is just let him live in you. That's all you gotta do. Okay, anyway. I'm done prophesying and ranting and educating, and I love you guys, and God bless everyone in the world. God bless everybody that gets to this part of the video, and even if you don't, God bless you. Thank you for any support that you have given me throughout this video. Yes, I know I sound crazy. I don't care. God bless you. I love you all. And I will see you later.